They say she walks with her feet turned backward, that she appears as a woman so beautiful, even the gods would hesitate to look away. But those who follow her never come back the same, if they come back at all. Incident 1. The Road to Chakrata. In October of 2015, a truck driver named Amjad was hauling goods along the Chakrata Pass, a mountain road that winds like a scar through Uttarakhand. It was near midnight when he saw her, a woman standing by the roadside in the freezing wind, barefoot, her long white dupatta fluttering in the dark. He slowed down. "Are you all right, sister?" he called out. She smiled, said she'd missed the last bus to her village. Her voice was gentle, soft, like the rustle of leaves. Against his better judgment, Amjad let her climb into the passenger seat. Minutes later, he noticed something strange. Her feet were resting oddly on the dashboard. It took him a moment to realize they were turned the wrong way. When he looked back at her face, it wasn't the same. Her eyes had gone completely black. The truck veered off the road and crashed into a ravine. Amjad survived barely, but to this day, when he speaks of that night, he swears the wreck didn't happen on a curve. He says she turned the truck herself. Incident 2. The Village of Swat. In 2018, deep in the mountains of Swat, Pakistan, a group of college students went camping. Locals had warned them not to wander after dark, especially not alone. But warnings sound like dares when you're young. One of them, Sajid, went out to collect firewood near a stream. He didn't come back for almost an hour. When he did, his clothes were wet and his face pale as chalk. He said a woman had been standing by the stream, humming a lullaby. Her hair floated around her like it was underwater. She'd asked him to sit beside her. When he looked down, her reflection in the water wasn't hers. It was something tall, skeletal, with its face split open into a grin that stretched to the ears. He screamed and ran. That night, the group heard footsteps around their tent, light, deliberate, circling over and over. But when they shone their flashlights, no one was there. The next morning, they found backward footprints leading into the trees and ending abruptly mid-path, as if she'd taken flight. Incident 3. The Bus Stop. In 2021, near Murray, a man named Rafiq was waiting at a deserted bus stop past midnight. A storm was rolling in. That's when he saw a young woman sitting on the bench, shivering. She looked terrified, said she'd been left behind by her friends. Rafiq offered her his jacket. She smiled and thanked him. Her voice sounded like two people speaking at once. The bus arrived 20 minutes later. The driver looked confused when Rafiq got in alone. "There was a woman here," Rafiq said. The driver went pale. He pointed at a sign near the stop. "Do not wait after dark. Area of supernatural activity. Beware of the Pikhal Peri." Rafiq turned to look back out the window and saw her standing in the rain, her feet turned backward, his jacket still on her shoulders, smiling. Some say the Pikhal Peri is a cursed spirit of a woman betrayed by her lover. Others claim she's a guardian of the mountains, punishing those who disrespect nature. But one thing is constant. She comes at night. She finds the lonely, the lost, the ones who think no one's watching. And if you follow her voice, you'll end up just another story whispered by the wind. I worked the night shift driving a taxi in a small town. Most nights are boring, just drunk students or tired workers heading home. But last Friday was different. It was close to 2:45 a.m. when I got a call from dispatch, a pickup request from the old highway outside town. Weird, that road had been closed for years after a landslide. Still, money's money. When I got there, the fog was so thick I could barely see a meter ahead. My headlights caught a figure standing by the roadside, a woman in a dark dress, soaking wet, staring blankly at me. I rolled down the window and asked, "Need a ride?" She nodded once. She didn't say where she was going, just sat silently in the back seat, dripping water onto the floor mats. Her face was hidden by her long hair. I started driving, but the GPS wouldn't load. No signal, no clear destination. The woman simply pointed forward whenever I hesitated. After what felt like hours, we passed the town's edge and headed toward the forest. Finally, my nerves broke. I glanced into the rearview mirror to speak to her and froze. There was no reflection. only the wet imprint of where she sat, slowly soaking deeper into the fabric. I turned around. The back seat was empty. The air smelled like earth and something rotten. Panicking, I slammed the brakes. The car skidded to a stop. Out in the trees, I saw her, standing there, head tilted unnaturally to one side, water pooling around her bare feet. She pointed again. At me. I floored the gas and didn't stop until I reached town. The next morning, the dispatcher called, furious. Said I had ignored 2 more pickup requests from the same location. But when I checked my ride history, there were no requests logged after 2:45 a.m. There was just a note under my profile. Last passenger, undelivered. I haven't driven at night since. But sometimes when I'm parked, my back seat still feels damp. And in my rearview mirror, in the corner of my eye, I swear I see her sometimes. Still waiting. Many years ago, a friend and I decided to visit our mutual friend at her university and spend the weekend with her. We had extremely detailed directions to follow, and we were told the trip should take about 3 hours. While nothing went wrong on our drive, it seemed to take forever. I don't remember exactly at what point the woods started, but I do remember traveling through these woods for a long time, perhaps an hour. We were already well past the 3-hour time frame my friend had given us by the time we left the woods. When we finally reached my friend's college town, it was nearly 4.5 hours since we'd left. We didn't get lost. We never hit traffic or stopped for more than a few minutes. But we quickly forgot about it since we were happy to spend the weekend with our friend. When the trip back was a little over 3 hours, we thought it was weird but didn't think much of it at the time. It wasn't until my next trip to visit that I realized something had been strange. I spent that whole next trip waiting for the long path through the woods that we had been on the first time, but it never appeared. Following the same directions as the first time, the entire trip took me about 3 hours, as did every other trip I made out there in the following years. I don't know what happened, and I've never been able to replicate it. I still wonder what happened and where we really were when passing through those woods.